welcome to my review of G Warrior. And I believe this is a PC exclusive game, but I may be wrong. I don't remember seeing it on other platforms. It took me around 2.5 hours to beat on normal. So it's a pretty challenging game for how short it is. Luckily, the way the game works is, you do get checkpoints in the stages. So, a stage will often have multiple checkpoints if you die. Where you will start from, even if you lose all your lives and go out to continue, you will start from the checkpoint. Now, if you shut the game off, I think you have to start from the beginning of the stage. I don't think it saves at the checkpoints, but it will let you use the stage select in the main menu to start any stage you got to from the beginning. So you may have to leave the system on if you're in the middle of a stage. I would recommend just leave the system on. Or you just minimize the game. You can minimize it in a window by using Alt-Enter and minimize it to one of your little tabs or something, and you can run other shit on your PC and then go back to it. But unless you want to redo the stage, you might just want to leave it on. But the stages are very short, but still they can be challenging, so that's one way to just keep it going without having to start the stage over. But that's basically how it works. I believe the only saving it does is when you beat a stage, it will maybe allow you to select it in the stage select at that point. I'm unsure if you can select all the stages from when you start the game up. I think you may have to unlock them, but I don't remember that. I know that you can use the stage select, though, to resume from wherever you left off. So, you can always resume from the previous stage you got to. So at the end of each stage, you'll fight a boss, and they pretty much always have multiple forms. And if not multiple forms, a lot of times they'll have multiple attack patterns. But there's usually multiple forms to them, and they take quite a bit of hits. It's very similar to 8-bit Contra, except it kind of improves on that formula by giving you multi-phase boss fights, which you didn't really get in the Contra games back then. So it's a little bit more fleshed out than those, and it's a lot harder than those games. And as far as the enemy density and the gameplay, moment-to-moment gameplay is a lot more aggressive, but it's also easier in the sense that you have unlimited continues and checkpoints, But if you had to do this on 3 continues only the whole game, it would be a lot harder than the NES Contra games. So it's harder in that sense, but it's easier in the sense that you can continue from a checkpoint. The biggest challenge was probably the final boss, which took me about 30 minutes to take down. But luckily the final boss does have a checkpoint in the middle of the fight, so it does give you some mercy with that. So you got your standard, run and gun gameplay where you go through the stages and then you'll fight bosses at the end. That's pretty much the formula. You have 3 lives to make it to the next checkpoint. So once you make it to the next stage checkpoint, you'll get to start from that forever, unless you shut the game off. Then you may have to start the stage over from the stage select screen. Bosses pretty much always have a checkpoint next to them. So if you get to a boss, you don't have to do a boss run to get back to it. Usually it's right there, and you'll get some power-ups before the fight, from what I remember. I just completed this today, but I had it in progress for a little while, so I don't remember the other stages really. I just finished off the final stage today. I just went to the stage select menu and went straight to the final stage. So this is the final boss. I show the full fight here, and I'll show where the checkpoint is as well. I do like to show the final bosses in a lot of my reviews of these older games. It's usually a good showcase of how difficult you can expect the game to get. So yeah, challenging final boss for sure. It's mainly this first form here that's the most challenging part of the game, and then once you defeat this first form, you get a checkpoint, and I didn't find the second half of the boss battle to be too difficult. But this is where I spent the bulk of my 30 minutes failing the boss. You do have a bomb move, but sometimes the bomb is just a shield, which a lot of times is better than using the screen clearing type of bomb. Though I don't really understand exactly how the power-ups work. I was always getting weird shit, like I would think that I had the shield on, and then it would just be a screen clearing bomb, and I could never really figure out how exactly those pickups worked. But I didn't need to beat the game, so not a big deal. But This game does the 8-bit Contra formula, very well. Though it's not on the level of like Blazing Chrome, which was a great indie game. Remaking that old style. Like that's a much better game than this still, because it has a little bit more complexity to it. You know what I mean? I think it makes it a better game. But as far as difficulty levels, I think this at least has a hard mode, so that might be worth checking out. But normal was a nice little challenge. It was a fun playthrough. If you're not accustomed to these kind of games, it could be very difficult, obviously, because it's based on that old NES style. But if you have played through the Contra games, and are familiar with that, then I don't think it will take too long to beat. But yeah, quite a good game. I would probably consider it, compare it to something like Blazing Chrome, which was a more recent, indie style Contra game. And, if it was a Contra game, it would be one of the best. So I think that's a good comparison point, for this type of gameplay. And I would say that game is quite a bit better. It just has a lot more going on. And, even the gameplay variety was better. And you had more boss fights during the stages, which kept things exciting. This is kind of like NES Contra with more fleshed out boss battles and more enemy density and stuff like that. Definitely harder moment to moment gameplay. But yeah, this second form wasn't too bad. You get to start in this floating segment, about halfway through the boss fight. So the final boss is pretty forgiving once you get past the first form. But yeah, this is a good Contra clone type of game. And I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.